It was in one moment, one question, one image that I saw that spurred that question where the magic opened up and sprinkled its dust. In that transition, the joy she began to experience in her daily life was palpable. I could feel her energy shift. Her laughter was brighter. My friends, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on your limiting belief, and maybe it is the same one. Pause and to consider the possibility that you are enough just as you are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. How are you doing today? I hope that you guys are having a fabulous day, no matter what, or no matter where it is that you are tuning in from. And as a reminder, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you do not miss a single episode, because I release one every single week. And you are going to want to remove any distractions that are around you at this moment, because you are going to want to take notes in today's episode. Why? Well, I am here to do a little dropping a mic and what I am going to be calling a reality check for each and every one of you guys on a common limiting belief that I hear so many of us, including my clients and myself, carry with us. And it is a very, very heavy piece of luggage. Are you ready to hear what this reality check is? Well, it is around the limiting belief that we carry that is tied to the idea that we are not enough. Oof. Ooh, did you feel that, right? I feel it because it is something that I have struggled with. It is something that my clients struggle with. And it is a limiting belief that tends to grip us heavy and hard, like a really heavy blanket, one of those weighted blankets. And what it does is it weighs us down. It keeps us stuck. And oftentimes it is what leads us to continuously chase external validation of ourselves. How many of you can relate to this? Well, I want to share with you guys a story, because I believe that in stories we can see versions of ourselves or relate to other people. And I want to share with you guys a story today about a client of mine who I will call Sarah. So Sarah is an incredible human. She is, decades into her career in her mid to late 40s. And on the outside, she has it all. She's got that Facebook facade, career success, beautiful children, and what appears to be a solid financial foundation. However, on the inside, it was a very, very different story. She was fighting a relentless battle against the belief that not only was she not enough, but her finances were not enough. And she constantly felt like it was never enough, that she had to prove herself, that her worth was weighed based on all the things that she had. And during one of our coaching sessions, we dove into the theta healing practice that I do with my clients, where we do really deep, heavy healing and inner work, generational trauma work. And as we were going inside and I was coaching her and doing some healing, I could immediately sense some hesitation on her end. And so I started prodding and asking her questions that I knew were making her uncomfortable, but it was with a purpose in mind and with her complete support, is really exploring what was really like her most tangible struggle in this moment. And she kept answering me very, very surface level. And I kept inviting her to go a little bit deeper, to go deeper, right? Because it was really important that we get to the root of this belief that was realistically holding her back and holding her hostage to this feeling of not enough. And it was in one moment, one question, One image that I saw that spurred that question where the magic opened up and sprinkled its dust. As I brought her into a meditation around what it was that I wanted to ask her, she was able to finally quiet her ego and her mind. And she was able to recount a moment from her childhood that she had very much forgotten about. And it was tied to a wound that she buried for decades. And it was a wound around how, as a little girl, she felt very overshadowed by her siblings. You see, her parents' attention was very divided, lots of kids in the house. And so she felt very invisible unless she achieved something remarkable. You see, that message echoed throughout her life, right? Whispering to her that in order for her to be seen, she had to excel. She had to have all the accolades. And tied to that was love. And as she was speaking, I could hear the sadness and the pain in her voice and the weight of all of those years pressing down deeply upon her. And it hit me in this moment. This wasn't just one of her limiting beliefs. It was actually a really deep-rooted scar that shaped her entire identity. But here's the beautiful thing, okay? In that moment that she was able to take off her mask and be vulnerable, in that theta healing session, we were able to gently, delicately peel away those layers of fear and doubt. And she allowed me to support her in releasing the beliefs and the energies tied to that emotional wound. And it was literally like the image that I saw, it was almost like this dam opened up, like the gates opened. And she started crying because she realized how deep this wound lived within her and how she had been living for other people, constantly striving to be enough in their eyes. And she wasn't in her own. And I will tell you that in that emotional release moment, she actually had a really deep sense of relief. And I'll never forget the look on her face when she finally felt the shackles being taken off, right? That moment of freedom. She was no longer tied to this belief that this was no longer something tying her down. And so we did some more visualizations and some affirmations that I was able to help her connect deeper to her inner child, to help her comfort that little girl who just wanted to be seen and loved for who she was, not for her accomplishments. And so Sarah began to really understand, and we worked through these layers, I call them layers of an onion, that her worthiness does not get to be tied to her job title or accolades or the bank account amount of money that she has, that it just comes from her being, her energy in her being. Fast forward a week or two, I got a message from Sarah after our session that just brought happy tears to my eyes. And it was a moment where she had a real life example where she took a step back from her relentless need for external validation. And instead of her chasing the next promotion, she instead chose to focus on what lit her up, on what filled her soul. And it had to do with her quitting her job and finally taking a step forward into doing the work that made her heart sing and smile and fill with joy. And as Sarah was embracing her worth, the pressure that she was putting on herself finally lifted in that moment. And she started to approach challenges with this newfound confidence, knowing that she is enough just as she is. And in that transition, the joy she began to experience in her daily life was palpable. I could feel her energy shift. Her laughter was brighter. Her relationships with her kids were deeper. And her self-love was radiant. And so, my friends, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on your limiting belief. And maybe it is the same one. What areas of your life are you not feeling enough? Right? What are those childhood wounds that are still echoing within your heart? And I invite you to pause and to consider the possibility that you are enough just as you are. And if this episode is speaking to you and you are interested in jumping on a call and you want to know the next question to ask yourself to go deeper, just like I helped with Sarah, then I invite you to send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, Wendy Paige Sterling, and ask, and I will be there for you. Or maybe you just want to share your thoughts with me about today's episode, or maybe you want to share a similar experience that you had like Sarah. Or maybe you want to share how overcoming a limiting belief has transformed your life. I would love, love, love to hear your stories. So please connect with me, send me a message. I want to support you in breaking free of these beliefs that are no longer serving you. And as we wrap today's episode, I want to just remind each and every one of you guys that you are worthy, you are enough, you are loved, and your journey is uniquely yours. So I hope that today's episode supported you in finding your power in the pause and really owning it and stepping in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Sending you so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.